Hello and welcome to Weekly MTG. I'm one of your hosts, Blake Rasmussen, unfortunately joined by Steve again this week. Steve, how you doing?
Oh, I didn't even see you there, Blake. How are you?
What have you been up to?
I went to Comic-Con,
Okay.
which was a lot of fun. Thanks
Yep.
for everybody who showed up, said hi. And at Comic-Con, our friends at Abrams Comics Arts debuted this book right here, Rise of the Gatewatch: A Visual History. So this is a cool little book that we put together with Abrams that has a lot of really cool art that you can't see because the pages are glossy and we're not zooming in today. But there's a lot of really cool art from all of the Gatewatch Planeswalkers that we have, and it's only $19.99 and available right now where all books are sold.
Wow, Steve.
Yeah.
You should be on infomercials.
I really should. I should. Oh, hold it up here.
Hold it up to this.
Hold it up here so you can see the book right here. And look at that cover. Look at that.
Look at it.
Look at that amazing cover.
This is how we started our 50th show.
Yeah, this is how we start our 50th show.
It's our 50th show, everyone.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Buy this book.
Buy this book.
Buy this book. It's our 50th show.
It's cool, but there is some really great art in there.
It is a really cool book.
Well, Blake, also in honor of our 50th show, I got you a little gift.
Oh, we're doing this
I
up
got you a little
top?
gift,
We're
yeah.
doing this up top. Okay.
Yeah, I got you a little gift. I got one for me
If
too.
our 50th show or Steve's gifts for me don't interest you, stick around.
Yeah, stick around.
Let me
we're
tell
doing
them what
stuff.
the show's
yeah,
about
let's
first.
talk about the show. Let's talk about the
This
show.
show,
You
it
talk
is a
about the
good
show.
one.
It's-
So we've got Kate Elliott standing by live via satellite.
love Kate.
And she's
Yeah.
going to talk about the Throne of Eldraine story. So we're going to talk about a little bit about what the story is. We're not going to give away too much, really.
We're still months out from.
We're still
from
a
the
little
card
ways
set,
out.
so,
And we're going to talk about how you can get it
Mm-hmm.
as well on the second half of the show. But first, we'll talk with Kate. If you have questions for Kate, if you don't know who she is, she wrote the Bolus story.
Yeah,
that
very
was
well
received.
received.
Yeah.
People really like that story.
But yeah, put questions for Kate in chat. We'll try to get to them after we chat with her for a little bit. And okay, I guess we're doing this
yeah,
now.
we're gonna open up. These.
I'm dreading.
Careful,
whatever
it's
this
already
is.
open.
It's
So
already
you just
open?
pull. You should, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
Jesus.
Yep.
Gosh.
Yeah.
Oh. Okay.
Now we have
Do
mugs with our faces
are we
on them.
are we zooming in
See?
on this? I don't
See?
know where we're going.
Here's.
This is
Yeah. See. Look, we have.
Blake and Steve
Yeah.
in the afternoon.
Look at that.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is the photo that we took after our first show.
after. What, oh yeah, the where we opened
opened
the
up
beta
the
pack,
beta
and that's
Savannah.
I see
Yeah.
it. A lovely
Yeah.
memory.
So now we actually have mugs where we can
Gosh.
we can actually drink
This
stuff
is
from it.
amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
welcome.
Happy 50th show.
Happy 50th show, Blake. This is a good 50th show.
Steve and I sometimes like each other.
Sometimes.
It's okay.
Occasionally. You want some water? Put some water in the mug.
Thank you.
Yeah, sure.
Oh, full service.
Yeah, right.
Let's talk to the real star of this show. Let's welcome Kate Elliott, all the way from several time zones away.
Yeah.
Kate, welcome.
Hello.
Hi, Kate.
Can you hear me?
We can.
Yeah.
How you doing?
I'm good. It's unfortunately I'm still in Hawaii.
Unfortunately.
Unfortunate.
No,
Okay.
I don't feel guilty, but I do know that. Anyway, let's move on. It's nice. It's all good.
Well, I definitely want to welcome you back. You're one of the few repeat guests we've had who don't work. Might be the only one.
Yeah, I think the only repeat outside guest that we've
Yeah.
had. Yeah.
I have a question though.
Oh,
Was
fire.
I on the first show?
You were not on our very
It was
first
the very
show.
first one.
It wasn't our very first
It wasn't our
show.
very first one. I think it was the first one that we ever had an author come on, though.
It definitely was, because
Yeah.
I don't think we've had any other authors
No,
on.
we haven't. Not
No,
really.
We
no.
just like you, Kate. Welcome. But you know what? So do our fans. I want to talk first about your first story because, quite frankly, our fans loved it.
Yeah. Oh, it was a great story. For those of you that don't remember, Kate wrote the Core Set 2019 story, and our core sets don't normally have a story, but this one did.
Yep.
Exploring the origins of Nicol Bolas.
Yeah.
Yeah, really, really great story. Very well received, and Kate, you did an amazing job with it.
Thank you so much. It was, I have to say, a lot of fun to write.
What was it like? I definitely asked you this question last time we had you here, but what was it like diving into Magic's world for the first time?
Well, it was very intimidating, and I think I probably said that at the time. In fact, I remember bringing this huge sheaf of paper to prove, like it was like a foot thick, to prove that I'd been reading stuff. What I did know was that Magic readers, people who are reading the story, really know their stuff, and people really know their cards. And I didn't want to come in as someone who didn't know anything or who kind of ignored those things. So that was kind of the most intimidating part for me. The story itself, I had a lot of leeway on because it's a legendary tale, which means It could be true, it could be not true, it could be partly true, who knows, right? But I wanted to make sure that there were like things that people would recognize as being true to Magic and true to the characters who they know later.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So that was the most challenging aspect of it.
So what drew you back to do another story with us?
Well, I have to say, I mean, besides the fact that I'm a working writer, and that's what working
and we paid you. Yes,
Yeah.
we did pay you.
You pay us, right? I had a good experience working with the first one.
Okay.
If I hadn't had, I wouldn't be here.
Mm-hmm. What was it? Now we've talked a little bit about the fan reaction, but from your perspective, what was the fan reaction like versus fan reactions to previous works you've done?
People are really focused on details, and but one of the most interesting things. First of all, I want to say that on Twitter, people were really nice to me. They would say, "Hey," people I didn't know would pop in and say, "Hey, really liked your story." I don't think I had a single person on Twitter. I think some other writers may have, but I didn't come in and say, "Oh, this was really bad."
Yeah.
So I'm grateful for that. And even at Worldcon last year, some random dude came up to me and said, "Oh, I really like your Magic story. It's, really great." So that was really gratifying.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing that I really noticed is how the people who are the Vorthos players, they really analyzed the story in a way that I don't often get in my own field, because I like to layer in a lot of little details that mean something later. And they picked up on them, and they noted them, and they were excited by that. And so for me, as a writer, that's really gratifying, because I feel like we're really paying attention to what I was doing. Yeah,
you did something with intention, and people noticed.
Yeah, detail-oriented is something that a lot of Magic players put on their resumes.
Yep,
that
is absolutely true. So let's, Sean, if you want to show the story previously. So if you haven't read it, definitely recommend you go back and check out the Core Set 2019 story by Kate Elliott. You can go to mtgstory.com, and that lists out kind of the 8 chapters there.
Eight chapters.
8 chapters.
Eight full chapters.
It's the story of Bolas and Ugin and how they came to be, but also the story of these twin sisters on Tarkir, who meet up with Bolas, and they learn a lot of this story through various means. It was really cool framing device, and we learned a lot about both Bolas and Ugin that we didn't know very well.
Yeah, and it was a story that was really well placed in the timing of the story we were telling at the time, right? Because this came right before Ravnica, right before our resojourn to Ravnica, and which of course ended in War of the Spark.
Yep.
The big conclusion to a decades-long story. So this kind of gave a really great amount of context to who Bolas was, where he came from, and gave players and readers a little bit more context as to what his deal is, as it was. Yeah.
Now, one thing I want to make clear, Kate coming back to work on this story, we are done with the Bolas arc.
Done.
This is not another
No
Bolas
more.
story. Kate didn't come back because she captured Bolas, and Bolas Ugin,
Done.
not involved.
Great story, and you should read it if you haven't, though. Yeah.
But we're moving on from that. So, Kate, what is the title of your Throne of Eldraine book?
The title is the Wilder Quest.
What
we
spent a lot of time trying to pronounce this beforehand.
So I apologize. And it's about going on quest and getting lost. Maybe not physically lost so much as in other ways. Does that make cycle? Yeah, in other ways. I have a whole list here that says things you can't say.
She's like, and then nope, can't say that. Nope. Okay.
Well, we want the story to stay fresh for people. We don't want to spoil it.
Yeah. So we have the cover art of the Wildred Quest.
Beautiful.
So let's show that, which will give people a little clue about who's involved. So, Kate, who's that on the cover there?
Why? I can't. I'm not seeing that, but I guess because I'm not on the channel. That is Rowan Kenrith.
It is. So, so you got to. Rowan is. Let's start by talking about Rowan.
Yeah.
I got to say something first.
Oh,
yes,
please,
please, absolutely.
When Nick Hillman approached me about. Oh no, I can't say that. Never mind. Sorry.
Okay, great, love it.
All right.
So
We're going to be doing a lot of that.
yeah, there's going to be a lot of that. So
Yeah.
so fans that are paying attention might recognize the art that was on that cover
Yep.
as the art that we showed at Comic-Con by Magali Villeneuve, and
Magali, another fan
favorite artist,
Yep.
of course. Rowan is one of the key characters in Throne of Eldraine, and we revealed that at Comic-Con this past weekend. So if you didn't know that, now you do, which is really cool. Rowan first showed up in Battle Bond, which was a ancillary product that we did last year, I believe. Was it last year?
Last calendar year.
Last calendar year? 2017? 2018. 2018.
We're in 2019.
Time is relative, Blake. Time is relative. Time could be anything. Time is a social construct. Anyway, we don't know a lot about Rowan. We didn't learn a lot about her in Battle Bond. Battle Bond didn't really have a story.
Yeah.
So this was a character that just kind of showed up. So we found out at San Diego that Eldraine is Rowan's home plane. So Throne of Eldraine takes place on Rowan's home plane.
So, Kate, what was it like? So, again, before you had two very well-established characters, Bolas and Ugin, what was it like getting to work with not a complete blank slate with Rowan, but someone who's far less established in Magic lore?
Well, it was an interesting contrast for a couple of reasons. First of all, it was great to get to work with someone less established because it means that the things I decided to do within the parameters I was given, because I was given probably more parameters for the Throne of Eldraine story than for the Chronicle of Bolas story, interestingly enough. But within those parameters, I basically knew I would be setting the stage. So that a lot of things that happen with her later will be based on this introduction.
Sure.
So, yeah, that and then I had to think about what they wanted, some of the basic things that they told me about who she was and personality and some hints about things that might happen. I don't know. But this is the start of a larger story arc that's on the list that says things you can say. And so I knew that I would be grounding the future. And it's a nice place to be. You don't have to. It was really different with the Bolas story because on the one hand it was the legendary story of Bolas. So maybe what he and Ugin are telling you is true. Maybe it's not true. Maybe it's partially true. Whatever. But you are writing it for people who have a history with that character. So anything I tell you about that character, they're going to compare to what they know and think they know about them.
Right.
With Rowan, basically what I tell you is what you know.
Yeah. Well,
so
and
I get a lot more power as a writer.
Yeah. Do you how much of Rowan's, so you said you got some parameters around her personality, but how much of her personality did you get to shape? Did you get to go any back and forth and say, I think actually in this situation she would do this, or did you do any of that shaping back and forth?
I was given like a very short paragraph description of her, and I didn't really consult beyond that.
Okay.
I feel like I had a pretty good handle on her. You know, she's a younger character, so in the process of forming who she's going to become, if that makes sense. Yeah.
without spoiling anything.
Yeah.
So one of the things that our fans were really excited about when we started talking about Throne of Eldraine was this world that our creative team has put together, this world of Camelot meets Grimm's fairy tales. So Kate, for you, when you found out about this concept, what excited you about it? What excited you about this cross-section of, this high fantasy Camelot-ish setting combined with the whimsy and sometimes darkness of fairy tales?
To be honest, one of the things that excited me was that I did so much research on medieval Europe for my Crown of Stars epic fantasy series that I'm like, okay, I don't really have to do much research on the daily life that I might want to put in because I know all that stuff. That was exciting. But I also like that little darker, that you could put some darker twists in it, which I used. That's on the list of things I can't say.
But she used it, and that's a thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you
It's a
say
very informative stream.
when you say twists, I'm trying to skate the thin line between things we can and cannot say. Were there any? So we showed a bunch of Throne of Eldraine art over the weekend that looked like twists on classic fairy tales, and Sean can throw some of that up. Are there any examples maybe that are not, that don't give anything away in the story, that you can talk about twists?
You know, I only saw like about 6 or 8 cards beforehand.
Okay.
So I didn't really rely on the art. I relied on my own knowledge of fairy tales, Grimm's fairy tales, the Arthurian mythos to do things, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
I can't point to anything specifically on the art.
Okay. Was there any fairy tale you took and inserted part of it, but then changed a significant
Yes.
part of it? Okay.
Yes.
Do you have any examples of that?
No.
Okay.
Yeah,
You'll have to read the book.
Yes, it's very important that you're going to have to read it. It's important.
Yeah.
Let's talk. So we already kind of talked about working with established characters versus a relatively new character. But what was the difference in working in a relatively new world versus a very established world like Dominaria that had literal decades of history built into it?
I was fortunate enough to have the archery. To me, it'll always be archery.
Yeah, archery.
We have to train ourselves to stop saying archery around here.
That is the code word.
Yeah.
For what the secret code word. Yeah. That's not that secret.
Yeah, so I had the archery world guide. So I consulted that a lot to get details. But of course, a world guide, without talking too much about what's in any given one, especially, is really there for artists to give an idea of what they might want to. It's kind of like a template, but it doesn't have all the details in it. So it's interesting because it's newer. I had to fit certain things. I had to maybe these colors or this, this shape or something a building is described. And so I have to make sure it matches that description. But beyond that, I really was pretty free to say, let's see these other background things and see how things work socially and how people interact. I was pretty free to do that on my own. And again, the contrast with the Bolas story is that there again, readers are bringing years, if not decades, of experience with this story in to compare to what I'm doing. So, the benefit of the Bolas story was that I was in legendary times, but I would still constantly be emailing Nick to say, "Can I do this?" And then he would write back and either say yes or no or yes, but. Whereas this one, I didn't quite have that many constraints because again, I'm kind of setting the stage for how people are going to think of Eldraine in the future, and it's a lot of responsibility, but it's also really enjoyable because I think a lot of writers were world builders, and that kind of makes us like, I don't want to be disrespectful, but kind of like God in our own little space.
Yeah.
Control issues. Yeah, I enjoyed that. I enjoyed knowing I was the first person bringing this to life.
Okay. I want to expand on that a little bit, but first I want to, again, let chat know. If you have any questions for Kate, please put them in chat. And we'll get to them before we let Kate go. We're going to let Kate go about halfway through the show.
We have some other stuff
to chat about. Yeah. So get those in chat as soon as you can. But I did want to expand on something you just said, Kate. So when you wrote the Ugin and Bolas story, you were obviously building on things previous writers had done. Do you feel any pressure or any different kind of pressure being the one on which future writers will base their writings on Rowan or Eldraine or anything like that?
I kind of liked it.
Very nice.
The control issues again?
That Kate Elliott story. Now people in the, sometime, because I've gotten a glimpse of Magic readers close reading and their analytical skills, they'll be like, that's not how Rowan is.
Yeah. That is not how Kate wrote her.
Yeah. It's not.
Yeah.
Not in her first appearance, at least.
Yep.
Nope.
All right. We could move on to questions because we've gotten a couple. Unless, Steve, you've got anything else?
No, let's go to questions.
Let's
I'm sure
go to
people
questions.
have some things to ask Kate. So,
Kate, what's your favorite fairy tale?
ooh, good question.
Man, that's a hard one. Fairy tale, an actual fairy tale.
Mm-hmm. And you can expand. I got 2 versions of the questions if you want to talk about as a child versus now.
I want to say The Little Match Girl.
Okay.
It's like real. Because this is a spoiler, she dies in the end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry for anybody that hasn't read The Little Match Girl.
And I have to say, when I was a kid, I really liked The Ugly Duckling. These are both H.C. Andersen fairy tales, and since I'm Danish American, we had Hans Christian Andersen in our house. So yeah, I would say Hans Christian Andersen.
Okay. Do you play Magic?
I have played Magic when my kids were teenagers, and I haven't since then.
Okay.
I learned to play it with them.
Yeah. Now, you told this story before, but for fans who didn't hear it, when you told your kids you might be doing the Bolas story, what was their reaction?
When I was approached by Wizards of the Coast to ask if I would be interested in writing this Core 19 story, and they told me that it would be the legendary backstory of a character named Nicol Bolas, I immediately called and texted my kids, should I do this? And they all said, yes, you have to. They didn't say you should, they said you have to do this.
Next question, have you read any good books lately?
Yeah. You mean fiction or nonfiction?
The question just says any good books. So whatever you've read lately that you like.
Gosh, there's a book called House of Sundered Flame, which is a fantasy novel set in kind of a 19th century Gothic Paris, but it's an alternate history where there's fallen angels and magic, by Elliott de Badard. Just came out, although I think that's only been published in the United Kingdom, so I'm not sure it has a U.S. edition yet.
Okay.
Toddy Thompson's Rosewater, which is the first of a science fiction trilogy set in Nigeria, where there is this large alien thing growing, and they have to figure out what it is and what it means, is really great. Zen Cho's The True Queen came out earlier this year, which is it's not a sequel to, but in the same universe as her Sorcerer to the Crown, which is an alternate history kind of Regency fantasy with magic. Mm-hmm. And that's another great one.
Okay.
Lots of good books.
Oh, so many good books. So this is a great time for reading, and I'm barely touching the beginning, and there's so many great books out right now.
Okay. Next question, and actually, Sean, while we're doing this, can you throw the cover art up again for anyone who's joining us and wants to see the title and the cover art? I'm gonna twist this question a little bit. You've now written 2 Magic stories, and both of them are about twins in some way, or at least Rowan is a twin. Coincidence?
Yes.
There you go.
There we go. There's the answer.
I did not make Rowan a twin.
Yeah.
That was pre-established.
I don't know.
I do have twins, though.
Okay. So you already know. You didn't need to do any background research on twins.
My younger, right.
I tried to make the best of that. All right. What is your favorite Magic character or planeswalker?
I can't say.
Yep, there it is.
There it is.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Pretty sure that was going to happen.
Yeah. I think I know who you're talking about too. But yeah, we'll move on. What are your favorite Arthurian or Grimm fairy tale writing tropes?
Ooh.
Oh, these are so hard.
Yeah, it's a
I always
stumper.
feel like I had them in advance. I like quests.
Okay.
I like quests, and I like badass women warriors. I guess those would be my two.
This book has both of
That's
those
good.
things.
Yeah.
Cool. Kate has nothing to do with any of our digital products, so we're going to move on past that. So what was
Stay classy,
your
Twitch chat.
Kate? What was your inspiration behind the layering of two different sibling stories in M19?
I was asked. Hold on, I'll get this in a second. Let my brain work. Okay, so I can talk pretty clearly about this because the story's been out for a year, right?
Yeah, it's
Oh,
been
yeah,
out for
definitely.
a year. The Bolas stuff, talk through it.
So I was approached to write the legendary backstory of Nicole Bolas, and I was requested. They wanted it done as a frame story so that the story would have plausible deniability. And the initial idea they had for a frame story was fine, but I didn't feel like I could do it justice using that frame story. And meanwhile, I was reading a lot, and I really liked Tarkir. I also kind of really liked Yasova, the character. And so when I decided to use Tarkir as my frame story, then it seemed to me to be just really work well to use two sets of twins. Because then you can mirror the two stories with each other. And you can have, I mean, and that's exactly what I do. The story of the two sisters on Tarkir is a commentary on the Bolas Ugin story. And you can see parallels and differences, and that's what you're supposed to do. So it just works well. I like structure. I like structure in stories. I like deep structure in stories where you can see things that reflect back on other stuff.
Makes sense.
Cool.
All right, last question before we let you go. What are you working on now? What's coming up next?
In next year is Genderbent Alexander the Great in space.
I remember you talking about that before.
Yeah, the last show that you were on.
It's in production is taking longer than expected, but it does have a publication date, July 2020.
Nice.
Great.
Very cool. So look for that. And then if you haven't read it yet, please go back and read Kate's Bolas Ugin story, mtgstory.com. Look for the Core Set 2019 story. And then, Kate, we're going to let you go. Thank you for joining us. And then we're going to talk a little bit to everyone else about how you can read the Wildred Quest.
Yep.
Wildred Quest.
Wildred Quest.
Wildred Quest by Kate Elliott. So
thank you so much, Kate.
Thank you, Kate, for joining us.
Yep.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Have a good one. Okay. So
now we can take the headphones off.
Oh, we can take the headphones off.
Which is going to be difficult for me because Sean taped mine to my back before the thing because, yeah, there it is. Okay. Yeah, all right. I get it.
Anyway.
Yeah.
So
we have some other business to talk about.
It's still about magic fiction.
Yeah.
So it's about how you can read this. So,
right. So, Blake, normally what we do is our web fiction is available on the Magic website.
Yep.
Right? So we release it in chapters, like, for example, the M19 story that we're telling everybody to go read because it's great. But that's not what we're doing for Throne of Eldraine.
No, and so prior to this, it was episodic. Some sets we did story for, some sets we didn't. So, for example, the core set last year that Kate did had a story, but the core set this year, there's no story or web fiction associated with it. When we did the Ravnica story, we did some web fiction, but it was kind of behind the scenes stuff. The stuff we used to call Uncharted Realms way back in the day.
Long time ago. For those of you that remember Uncharted Realms, F in the chat for Uncharted Realms.
And then the main story was found both on the novel, the Word Spark novel, as well as the chapters that were emailed to people who signed up for the newsletter, as well.
So we've done a lot of experimentation with Magic Story in the last year.
So we've settled on something that we think we're gonna stick with for a little bit, which is you don't have to read the story 1 week at a time. We're gonna release the whole thing all at once. You can pre-order it. It's going to be an ebook that you can get anywhere basically anywhere ebooks are sold. Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Apple. If they sell ebooks, they probably will sell this. And it will cost $3.99, but you will get the entire novel. It will be written by someone like Kate Elliott.
Yes.
We're going to keep working with great outside authors. Kate's proven herself to be really adept at writing magic fiction. So I wouldn't be shocked if for our 100th episode we have her back.
That would be really cool.
That's not an actual announcement. I have no idea if she's writing anything else for us later.
We also don't know if we're going to get to 100 episodes.
Maybe not. We'll
Maybe
cancel
not. Who
after
knows?
this one after
Who knows?
Steve got the mugs.
Yeah.
So yes, $3.99 ebooks. You are going to be able to pre-order starting
Maybe
as soon as late as this Monday.
Right.
Somewhere between Saturday and Monday, and that's just a processing thing. You'll be able to pre-order on the various websites for delivery on September 4th.
So you'll be able to get the full story of Throne of Eldraine on September 4th.
That is before the cards come out.
Yeah, so you'll get to see a whole lot of things that you wouldn't normally get to see.
Yep.
The way we've traditionally done stories. So you're going to get to know a lot more about what's happening in Eldraine.
Well, and that's one of our other pushes is there's always this tension between seeing the story on the cards and reading the book. So
Right.
I know War of the Spark, really closely tied set to the story.
In fact, that's how we did the preview.
That's how we did the previews.
Yeah.
And so if you paid attention to previews, you knew the main plot points of the story before you could read the book. Well, we're flipping that this time. So you can read the book on 9/4 before seeing the set at all.
Yeah.
So it's very cool. It's a new era. We've tried a bunch of different things. So $3.99 anywhere ebooks are sold.
Yep.
And it's the whole thing. You can devour it in 24 hours if you want.
Or you can space it out. It's up to you.
Yep.
You can read a chapter a week. That's fine. If
Yep.
that's how you like consuming content, good on you.
Yep.
But I am sure that Twitch chat has questions about this.
Let's
I'm
see.
positive that they have questions because
Some questions, some just statements.
Sure.
The other thing I want to add is that we are exploring localization.
yeah,
So the localization of the story is not off the table. It probably will not be in any other languages at launch, at minimum. English at launch.
Yeah.
We're looking at possible localization after that. We kind of have to see what the appetite is for this.
Right.
We have not done a $3.99 ebook before. And we were, some of us were talking about, hey, what do you project this is going to, how many of these are we going to sell? How much, what's the appetite for people to read in ebook form? And, we threw out some educated guesses. And then at the end of it, we're just like, but who knows? So we're interested to see what people think, especially this first story. We know Kate's going
Absolutely.
to knock it out of the park.
oh yeah, yeah.
So it'll certainly be interested.
So the question that I'm sure, if it hasn't been asked yet, that people are going to ask, does this mean that there's not going to be any web fiction for Throne of Eldraine?
For Throne of Eldraine, at least, yes. No web fiction. Will any of the back catalog of stories be packaged and released as an ebook? That's actually something we've been discussing.
Yeah, it's a good question.
It is an open question that is still being figured out, but it is something we're exploring. So yes, maybe.
If that's something that you would like to see, we'd love to hear from you.
And just to be clear, no, $3.99 is not $399.
No.
$3.99.
$3.99, about the price of a booster pack.
Yes.
Yeah.
We've done novels before, so we actually.
have,
So
yeah.
for anyone who doesn't know the history of Magic Story,
Oh, let's buckle up.
let's go through it.
Let's
I'm not even
buckle
sure
up.
I'm going to get the whole thing correct. So, Magic Story has not, as much as people like to point to the weekly cadence of stories that were the main storyline, that actually is a relatively new occurrence.
Yes. Put into the context of the history of Magic.
yeah,
it is a
I'll
relatively
peg it,
newer thing.
and someone's going to call me on this, but I'll peg it roughly to Origins. That was kind of when the most recent thrush of stories.
Right, and before that, it was more Uncharted Realms type things.
And so the Uncharted Realms were sort of flavorful stories that talked about the world rather than the plot points.
Right, and before Origins, there were novels that stopped around I think Shards of Lar or Zendikar or something like that.
I don't remember, but we had actual novels, including the greatest Magic novel of all time, Arena, and no one will ever change my mind about that.
Don't at him.
Don't command. At least the best physically printed novel. We'll put it that way. A lot of them are great, but Arena, I have fond memories of Arena. Go check it out if you haven't read it already. But yeah, so we did those for a long time, and there are people working at Wizards of the Coast right now who wrote those physical books.
Oh yeah,
Doug Byers here.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we had a series. We moved away from publishing physical books and moved towards doing web fiction-y stuff. That was the Uncharted Realms. We also did things like Planeswalkers guides that were just
oh yeah, I remember those.
Just like lists of what people in the world are up to, and those were fine. And then we did some hardcore web fiction. We mixed that up a little bit, and then now we're trying ebooks. Yeah. So it's the next transition that we're making, and we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. You know, I think the way that I consume media now is I need to have something where I can just experience it at my own pace, right?
Yep.
I'm not waiting for something. So I'm looking forward to reading it that way. But like, I'd love to. You know, I know that our team wants to know feedback about this, and so if this is something that you like, let us know. If it's something that you think could be improved, also let us know.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, we want to try to figure out a good delivery system for Magic Story that works for people, right? So this is an avenue that we're trying, and it's you're gonna see a lot more of it.
Yeah.
Do we have questions?
We have some questions. I'm looking at which ones I can answer. Are you planning on advertising? Yes. Yes, we are. Yes. So there's kind of a soft launch this weekend with the pre-order. So you're going to be able to pre-order it now, and then later on we're going to do a stronger push. Maybe we'll involve some preview cards. Maybe we'll talk about some of those characters that Kate had on her do not talk about list.
That we also have on our do not talk about list.
That we also have on our do not talk about list.
So we also can't talk about it
until a later time.
Yeah.
So anyway, we do plan to do that.
Yeah, I would definitely expect to see more about this story and the ebook, and maybe some of the characters that might be showing up in Eldraine.
Yep. We didn't say how many pages. I actually, honestly,
I don't know. I don't know how many pages.
It's book length.
Yeah.
I don't know. Are there any characters from past planes, either alive or dead, that may show up here?
You will have to wait and see.
You'll have to read the book.
Yeah.
I'm gonna answer every one of those questions.
You'll have to read the book. Yeah.
Are we going to print it as a physical book? No. And are we just let's see. Will there be an audiobook for Throne of Eldraine like there was for War of the Spark? Not currently.
No, not currently.
But let us know if that's something you'd like.
Yeah, and the same for any other different permutations of the book that you'd like to see. If that's something that you would like, if that's something that you would like to purchase or experience, please let us know, because we want to know. Yeah, the audiobook was also a little different. That was through the publisher for War of the Spark, Ravnica, Del Rey.
Yeah.
And this we are publishing this.
We are using these the Penguin Publishing pipeline, but we're essentially self-publishing these novels.
Yeah.
Question: if the story is moving from weekly story to ebooks, can we get some more Uncharted Realms stories back? Not necessarily weekly, but every once in a while.
It's a good question.
Actually, yes, probably. I know that the story is likely not going to be translated into Japanese this time around. Sorry, I'm thinking Chinese simplified this time around. But I know that team is looking at exactly that sort of tactic, giving sort of highlights and high-level descriptions. So we're definitely looking into that sort of thing. It's just a question of who's going to write it.
Yeah.
Because we're having authors do a lot of our writing now, and Kate's not going to come write a Planeswalker update article.
Not as far as I know.
Not as far as I know.
Yeah.
Will there be any arena events that coincide with the book?
You'll have to wait and see.
Is that something you'd like?
Yeah, then let us know.
That's my new.
Is that something you want to see?
Where do I sign a petition to demand a full story for unsets? I would go on Blogatog and send a message to Mark Rosewater, who is king of all things
Cool. It's cool. I got you. All I'm doing is bothering Mark about that, so you don't have to. That's covered. It's covered.
Yep. Without reading the book, will any past, present heroes show up? Well, we already talked about that.
Covered that. You'll have to read the book. We're just going to do it in that tone every single time with like the tiny little shrug.
Will there be artwork inside any of the pages or just text? This is a good question.
Yeah.
We explored artwork inside. For this one, I believe the answer is no. But that's only because when we started planning this ebook, we didn't set out to create any art specifically for the book. And so what that means is that you have to do a lot of resizing and reshaping. And then we had looked at, well, could we take this sketch and put it in here? But there was no good way to do it because honestly, we didn't plan to do it.
Right.
That is already on our radar, putting art in these ebooks as well, and maybe even commissioning some art. And again, a lot of that's going to have to do with the reception to this and whether people buy it or not.
Yeah. If you get it and that's something that you want to see that you think would enhance your reading experience, please let us know.
Yep. Is Jason the book? Honestly, don't know the answer to that question.
Don't know the answer.
Don't know the answer to that question. Will the book be out before or after the set release? Before. That is one of the key selling points.
So it will be out on September 4th.
September 4th. You can pre-order it before then.
Yep. You'll be able to pre-order it at the very latest by
Monday
the 29th.
Yep. Is there any way to access the lore of the current set for free going forward? Like we said, we've discussed maybe doing some Uncharted Realms type things on the website. We kind of have to see what the reception is to the ebooks and what the appetite is for something like that. But it's definitely on our radar to do.
So many questions.
There are many questions.
That's great. Thank you for putting in all these questions, Chad.
Do I have to read the book? You know what?
No,
you don't have to. There will be, you can see some story in the cards. You might pick it up here and there. Honestly, there's probably going to be a Reddit thread at some point in time that summarizes the story. If you don't want to read the story, you don't have to.
No, but
it's an extra thing for people who do like the story.
We would certainly like it if you read the story.
Yep.
We would like that.
Are Rowan and Will both the twins? They are both twins.
Yes.
Yeah, so we met them, if you don't know, we met them in Battlebond briefly, where they had Planeswalker cards that were partners
Yeah.
and could be your commander.
Yes.
But we didn't learn a ton about them. They went there, they fought. That was kind of Battlebond's thing.
Yeah.
People fight.
Yeah. In tournaments.
Yeah,
like
2v2 tournaments.
Yeah.
And so we don't know a ton about them, which is kind of cool. And that was what Kate was alluding to, or just outright saying, actually, that they were kind of a blank slate.
Yeah, and on it, and the thing is, one of the things that we revealed at Comic-Con, for those of you that were not here earlier, we mentioned that Rowan was going to be in Throne of Eldraine, and that Eldraine is Rowan's home plane.
Yeah.
So those are the things that we know so far. And if you want to know more, I encourage you to both pre-order and read the upcoming Eldraine story, the Wildered Quest.
So do you reveal anything in this stream? We did.
Yeah.
Let's throw the book cover back up there.
Yeah, let's throw it back up there.
The things we revealed, just to recap, Kate Elliott, The Wildered Quest.
Yep.
Ebook. Available basically anywhere you can get ebooks. $3.99.
Right.
I'll even specify American.
Yep.
U.S. dollars. Available for pre-order starting Monday, maybe even a day or two earlier, and then it comes out on September 4th.
Yes.
Yeah.
You got all of it.
Those are all the things.
All the boxes,
the cover character is Rowan.
And the art is by Magali Villeneuve.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we definitely want to point that out because Magali's really great. Any flavor text in the cards from the book? My guess would be no. Kate said that she only saw a couple cards
ahead of time. So
my guess would be no, but I don't know that for a fact. I would love to see Nikki Drayden and Django Wexler come back to write for Magic Story. They're amazing Magic Story writers. Overjoyed you invited Kate to come back. So that was more of a statement, but that's good to know.
No,
and we'll
it
definitely,
is. Yeah, we'll pass that along.
Yeah.
You know, it's always great when we have the opportunity to have authors come back. This is something that we're a little bit new to, right?
Yep.
Where we're getting outside authors to come in and contribute to the incredible tapestry of Magic Story.
Yep.
But yeah, if we can get people to come back, I have no decision making power here, but I think that's really cool.
Yeah.
I think it's cool. We make people come back.
I'll read this just to highlight it. Anyone who doesn't read the novel can listen to summaries on the Vorthos Cast podcast.
Yes, that's true.
And the
Shout out to
Vorthos
Vorthos Cast. Yeah.
They're a good group of people who love the story, and their podcast is aptly named, and you should definitely check them out, the Vorthos Cast. They do a lot of story summaries. They like to, if you are not able to follow all the things and grab all the lore from here or there, they do it for you.
Yep.
So not a bad group to follow. Is there a non-zero amount of people eaten by wolves in this set? Grimm seemed to love having people getting eaten by wolves.
You'll have to check it out and see.
I know, and in my head I'm going,
Yeah.
maybe.
You have to
I
check
don't
it
know.
out and see.
The sword in the lake is guarded by Merit Lage, right? It's never Merit Lage.
It's never Merit
Except
Lage.
it was Merit Lage.
Except when it was, but it's never Merit Lage, except when it is.
Yep. Adding a way to buy and view the ebook from Marina would be really cool. It would be really cool.
That would be really cool. We should talk to the Arena team about that.
Yeah, with some people.
It's a good idea.
The Lorgoyfs is also a great place to get.
Yes,
story
Lorgoyfs,
back. Vorthos
Cast. There are a lot of really great resources out there for people that love Magic Story. It's
Yep.
one of the things that I love about our community. When there's a thing that people really love passionately, inevitably there are people that will start creating content for it in our community, and they become a great resource for all of that stuff. So Lorgoyfs, Vorthos Cast, I'm sure there are others that I'm not mentioning off the top of my head, but there's a lot of resources out there for people in the community that love Magic Story, and I think that's really awesome.
Yeah. Let's see. Excited for Kate. Are there any plans to have Brandon Sanderson write more Magic lore in the future?
Is that something you would like to
Is
see?
that something you would like to see? Brandon's great. Brandon is a fan of Magic.
Yeah.
He plays, loves the game, so I definitely wouldn't rule it out.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
We'll see.
We'll see. Who knows?
We'll see.
Who knows? More Davriel, and that's true. We haven't really developed Davriel. Davriel's
That's
just
true.
a character. There's a couple of them sitting out there.
A lot of characters out there that.
Yes, Brandon Sanderson did write a novel for MTG. If you can probably just Google Brandon Sanderson MTG.
It's called Children of the Nameless.
that one.
Children of the Nameless by Brandon Sanderson. If you Google that, you will be able to find it. It is also available on the Magic the Gathering website. So magicthegathering.com.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see. I think it looks like we're all caught up on questions I can actually answer.
Great.
Which are not all.
Yeah.
If I didn't answer your question, it's not because I didn't see it. It's because
We can't answer. There are certain questions we just
can't.
can't
We
answer,
have
guys.
we have our
can't do
own
it.
list. Yeah.
We can't do it.
Are the two of you excited for anything in this set? A certain
Ooh.
card or event?
Yes. Yes.
Yes, we are.
It may be the same thing. It may be a different thing. We'll leave it up for you to decide. But there, honestly, one of the most exciting things for me was getting to see the reaction of folks at Mark Rosewater's San Diego Comic-Con panel. It was so cool to finally get to talk about, for Mark, to get to see Mark talking about something that he's been wanting to do for 10 years.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you guys know how excited Mark Rosewater gets, like, at a normal level. This was Mark, like, turned up to 11 because he's been waiting so long to talk about this. So getting to see him talk about that stuff and getting to see him reveal that it was going to be Camelot meets Grimm's Fairy Tales.
Yeah.
He had this whole call and response thing that the audience did, which was he would show a piece of art that was clearly Camelot, and he would have the audience say Camelot, and then he would say meets, and then he would show another art that was fairy tale, and the audience would say Grimm's Fairy Tales. This kind of worked. It almost worked. There were people that did, but if you so I'm gonna tell a little story about San Diego. So
Please do.
we went out to dinner, all the Magic team after Mark's panel, and there was a group of people that very kindly bought Mark dessert. And when the waiter came up to serve it, he said, "This is this is one of our famous dishes. I would describe it as Camelot meets Grimm's fairy tales. So shout out to those wonderful people that bought Mark dessert. It was a really cool experience for all of us to be there, to get to see all that stuff. If you did come to San Diego Comic-Con, thank you so much for stopping by. Thank you so much for coming to the panel. And for those of you that did not, I hope that you caught Mark's article about Eldraine. If you haven't read it, you should go read it. dailymtg.com. There are a lot of really cool changes in there. Not just the theming of Eldraine, but a couple of other new products that are coming, going to be coming with that set as well. So, yeah, we're excited about events and things and stuff coming with Throne of Eldraine. We always are, but in more recent events, seeing that Comic-Con panel and getting to see everybody ooh and ah over seeing some of that art for the first time was really, really cool.
So we're going to wrap things up.
Tied up in a little
last question, last statement.
Oh.
Please don't do any more Weekly MTG in which you can only answer the bare minimum like this. No can do.
Nope, sorry.
That's just...
Sorry.
We're gonna announce things,
Yep.
and we're gonna talk about what we can talk about, because we don't. You know what? We could spoil the entire plot of the novel.
Yeah, we get fired, but
we'd get fired. But there's that.
Yeah.
But also, it's not fun for everyone.
No.
So it's about preserving the experience.
Well, and also the thing that we can tell you is that we'll always answer what we can.
Yeah.
It's just because we're not answering your questions doesn't mean we're not ignoring you. Doesn't mean we don't see you. And
we love you.
We do. We love all of you.
Yeah.
In your own little way. But seriously though, we do see the questions. Whenever we go through, we see all of them. We know that there's a lot of statements there. We know there's a lot of feedback. We see that, and don't think that just because we're not answering your question, you haven't been seen.
Okay, so we're gonna cut it there.
Yep.
So just to recap, let's throw that book cover up on the screen
more time.
One more time.
Uno Mas.
The Wildred Quest by Kate Elliott is going to be available for pre-order as an ebook. Starting no later than this Monday, possibly as soon as tomorrow. You can pre-order it or order it when it comes out anywhere that you can get ebooks. So Amazon, Barnes & Noble,
Apple Books,
Apple Books, all of those places. It is $3.99. It will actually arrive on 9/4, so September 4th, which probably answers the question of when will we learn more about the set? When you read this book on 9/4.
Because this will be out before the set.
It will be out before the set. So that's what we learned today. We also learned Kate Elliott was awesome for stopping by, so thanks, Kate.
And if you missed Kate's portion of the interview, I'd really encourage you to go back and take a look at the VOD. Rewind it. She had some really cool things to say about her experience writing Magic Story. Thank you so much to Kate for being a guest this week, a repeat guest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then next week...
what do we got next week, Blake?
Next week, we're going to be talking about changes to the MPL core split.
Yeah.
So we've got the next split for the MPL Weekly show coming up. And we're going to talk about what that one's going to look like. Yeah. We've got some changes on tap.
Well, and on top of that, if you really enjoy watching Magic: The Gathering, there is a little thing called Mythic Championship 4 in Barcelona.
Do tell me more.
Going on this weekend. I believe coverage begins, because it is in Barcelona, at midnight tonight Pacific time.
Is that right?
Yes, I believe that is correct.
Cool.
You'll have please look on the Magic website for more on when coverage starts.
MagicEsports.com.
MagicEsports.com.
Yep.
But Mythic Championship 4 in Barcelona, it's going to be really cool. It's modern. So it's Modern Horizons Draft. Is the first 6 rounds, and then after that, it's modern Constructed.
Yep.
So you're going to get to see a whole lot of really great Magic gameplay. Coverage begins in 9 hours, 5 minutes, and 54 seconds. It's going to be really cool.
That sure sounds like midnight.
It sure sounds like midnight to me, Blake.
Yeah.
So if you're able to, tune in. If you're not, you can catch the video on demand. We have those. But yeah, it's going to be a good time, and looking forward to seeing some great Modern play this weekend in Barcelona.
All right, so tune in for that. Otherwise, we will see you next week. Thanks for tuning in.